The steps I used to get rid of tinnitus and to start hearing silence. Now, you might think it sounds impossible, but I did it, and I want to share with you what I did. In the next 40 minutes, you will discover the real reason for tinnitus, as well as every single step I did to achieve getting rid of tinnitus. And you have to stay until the end, because at the end we will share with you our number one video to make you feel calm and relaxed and get you a restful sleep. And what can be better than that, especially if you suffer from tinnitus? Now, suffering from tinnitus has many reasons, and some of the reasons we want to exclude from this discussion. Now, everything which is mechanical damage, kind of a hit to the ear, an increasing sudden noise, continuous noise from big party, etc., or working in loud environments, whatever. Simple things like wax in the ear, or age which is causing tinnitus and reducing the hearing and stuff like that. This is not what we're talking about. But if your noise is created by stress, overwhelm, too busy all the time in the mind, many things to do until the day is gone, suffering from fear, anxiety, and stuff like that, that was the pattern I suffered of. Now, who are we? Who am I? I used to be a business consultant. I worked for 16 years in an environment of multinational companies, trying to analyze the business and see how they can benefit from SAP, a very big software company, which is basically managing the whole enterprise, the whole company, and see how the company can use this software in the best way, the best fit and the most beneficial way. So there was already one key which helped me to succeed to heal. When the tinnitus struck me, I was a little busy in my life, meaning traveling a lot internationally, found myself 3-4 times a week in the plane, and of course every meeting was very important, and time of the essence, I would say. I had approximately 247 phone calls, and as I said, everything highly important. So that at one point gave me my tinnitus. That's in retrospect, looking back. What happened that one night I woke up and I assumed the air conditioning is still running, but not the case, and I had no idea what happened to me. And what really happened is really from one day to the other I suffered from tinnitus. And it got worse by the day. I lost my directional hearing. In big meetings, I couldn't even say who was saying what or who was asking what. And I would say not breakdown, but the really most horrible event I remember is we were running on a software fair and going into the room where all the different kind of stands were, my ears went ballistic. Imagine a buckler from metal and a spoon from wood, and you're like doing this one. This is what I heard in my ear. So I was so much in shock, I went right away out to collect myself. And now this second time entering, I kind of managed. So I was in big trouble. And of course, what do you do when you're in big trouble? Right. You hit the specialist, so I went to ENT specialists, not only one, apparently 3 of them. And I soon realized that they don't really have a clue of what I'm talking about, and they have not real suggestions. I took some medication. In Germany, one of the approaches is it might be a problem of blood circulation, so I took some medication which increased my blood circulation tremendously. My ear was red, shiny red and hot, but didn't really help. So after some weeks I gave up on that path and thought by myself, what can I do? And I realized, maybe just to be calm, just to relax a little would help me. So I booked a diving trip. I know, might sound a little bit funny, ear problem, diving, scuba, deep down under. But at the time it was the kind of thing which I don't know how to say it. It seemed the most relaxing thing to me, going deep underwater and all you hear is bubbles. Blah, 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 blah. That's all. And what can I tell you? After 2 days, I felt better. Of course, not dramatically, but I felt, more relaxed, and I felt the ringing is not so strong anymore. So I thought, okay, I'm on the right path. And after 4 days, I really felt better. I thought I'm much more relaxed. Excellent. I went back to my office, and after the weekend, I opened my laptop. The door opened. My first employee came in to ask me about some critical issues which have to be decided on the spot, and my ear did wow, and I knew, okay, that's not the end of that. That was small plaster, but by far not the solution. So I continued to think about my problem, and deep down in myself, I promised myself that I will solve this problem somehow. So I continued thinking, and eventually I found a place in the middle of China, virtually middle of nowhere. I took a plane to Shanghai. I went 25 hours with a train. I took another 2 hours with a bus and a half an hour taxi to arrive in the mountains, deep in the mountains. The good news, first of all, there was no reception. My mobile phone off. And that was immediately, I went out, was immediately a different feeling. And then I began to learn over 6 weeks a process, a procedure. And in short, I would describe it as learn how to be in harmony, in balance, inside and with your surrounding. That was really one of my key understanding at the time. So when I came back, of course, I felt already much better. But I knew I will not make the same mistake twice. So I continued my exercises for another approximately 5 to 6 months. And one day to the other, the tinnitus went as it came. And as you can see here in the picture, obviously there was a dramatic change, not only inside, also outside. And I just thought I'll bring you these two pictures to give you a perspective. Now, key to improve my situation was really to change my point of view. And I thought this little picture will explain exactly what I mean. When you look at the problem and you look from two different angles, you see very different things and you might get very different ideas. We'll talk about this in a minute, talking about traditional Chinese medicine. So I just want to emphasize the way it made me feel was horrible. it prevented me from having a refreshing sleep, which means I went on getting like weaker and weaker and basically working like on a minimal layer of energy. Work felt terrible. At the end, I really thought I just cannot do my job anymore properly, not to what I used to do. And another big problem that I couldn't really speak to somebody about it because I knew nobody which had this thing. I didn't knew what I had at the moment when tinnitus hit me. So I found myself in a very difficult situation, hard to communicate or to share with other people. So one thing I would recommend you right now is share your problem. Talk about what's going on with you. Because looking back, I had very strange behaviors at the time. So over and above that, now we hear all sorts of things people do to get a restful sleep. Listening to radio, listening to TV in the night, just not to hear the noise. So that, of course, makes you really feel terrible. But continuing this process, this program, you will understand how I lowered my pitch, because at times it was crazy, how I reduced the ringing gradually. It's not like bang, off. It's going down, like you dimming the loudness of your music. And eventually, how I eliminated the source of my tinnitus. You achieve that by implementing the 5 principles we have come up with and which actually helped me to succeed. But before we go there, just a few words about the Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine is more looking from the outside, more looking at the overall situation, where the Western medicine is more interested in the actual symptom, diving deep down, what is the actual cause. Now, as an example, I want to give you, imagine a hot pot. Standing on the gas, fire is burning, the cover is wiggling from the steam. What would the Western medicine do to solve the problem? First of all, look inside. Open, steam comes out, thing doesn't wiggle anymore. Huh? Already better. Now, put that back. The Chinese medicine looks at the overall condition and sees, okay, there's too much heat, so we have to reduce the heat. By reducing the heat, solving the problem. So you see, very different kind of methods, and I don't want to say Western medicine is stupid, Chinese medicine is very intelligent. Not at all. Apparently, we have experienced in the last 13, 14 years working with people that it's actually helping each other. So keep that in mind, because it actually helped me a lot to look in a different way. So the first principle we want to share with you today is basically talking about energy, the source and the use of energy. When we say energy, what we're talking about is life force. And the best description of that is basically imagine yourself in the morning, waking up, first thing, what comes to your mind? Jumping out of the bed, wow, great day, what can we do today? That is a sign of a lot of good energy. If you wake up at the same moment like, oh my God, it's already time, I have to get... This is a sign for very little energy. So this is the energy we're talking about. And how do we replenish, how do we fill this energy? Basically, first and foremost, what you see on the left hand side, air, water and food. And of course, all of that in the best quality days, that will make very good charging of your batteries. The Chinese medicine looks at these batteries as a reflection of the kidneys. The kidneys is storing the energy. And if the energy is drained, that makes us feel terrible, exhausted, etc. Over and above that, we need sleep. A good, restful sleep, and that will help us on the right hand side to run our life. So every day we supply air, water, good meals, restful sleep, and the batteries are charged. Now that doesn't sound so important, but imagine that, especially for us suffering about tinnitus, this is a key issue, because what happens is the tinnitus makes it very, very hard to fall asleep and often prevents restful sleep. After 3 months, I was like a lemon, squashed out. That's how I felt. So therefore, this is a very, very important subject. Preventing a restful sleep basically drains your energy, ruins your life in the long term. Over and above, there are special exercises which helping you to charge the batteries. But make no mistake, when air, water, food is bad and sleep is bad, no exercise will help you. Okay? That's why we want to give you this little exercise at the end of the seminar and basically share with you, put you in the position to get a better sleep or feel more calm during the day. Now the second part of this principle is we are actually running 3 brains. That is like the recent study of neuroscience, and what they provide us with is a deeper knowledge of the evolution of our brains. One of them is the croc brain. Croc brain is the one which is sitting here and is basically very, very simple. Basically, it acts about 3 things. One is whatever comes to us. Should I kill it? Should I mate with it? Or should I run? Very, very simple decisions are made in the croc brain. That's why it's a very efficient brain. Second, the midbrain is dealing with all the things in terms of the social context. This is my wife, this is my boss, so I have to follow what he says. These are my children, they have to follow what I say. Just very simple described here. Most important, the neobrain is the brain talking about language, doing analysis, making decisions, etc. This is the kind of things happening in the neobrain. And therefore, if you are a lot in the neobrain, which almost anybody of us in modern lifetime is, again, you're using a lot of energy. And the reason for that is basically it's the most complex machine, and many researchers suggesting that it's using most of the energy during an extensive office day, school day, or whatever the case might be. So therefore, it is very, very important in our tool, in all our trainings, we are trying to work on the croc brain. That puts you in the position, you are not losing energy, you are not wasting energy, you are on a different level, working very subtle, very slow, very calm. That is the reason. So, following our discussion, you need 3 steps to eliminate the source of tinnitus. First, if you can relate to our logic, if you feel it's talking to you, if that story resonates with you in terms of overload, anxiety, stress, etc., acknowledge and understand why you suffer. Second, most important, believe healing is possible. This is one of the first things my teacher in China told me. If you acknowledge a sickness cannot be healed, you manifest it. This sickness really will not be able to be healed. But if you let it open, meaning you allow yourself to believe healing is possible whenever that will happen, then you can pursue the healing. So that's the second step. Believe healing is possible. Thirdly, commit and implement our 5 principles of healing. And we'll have a look right now about the strategy and the tool. Now, strategy, principles. First, use the energy management successfully. Second, restore silence inside. Now, currently, you have no silence whatsoever. Therefore, what we need to restore is silence to be brought inside you. Thirdly, we need to build focus. All our attention is often 95% to the outside. The job, the family, the kids, the friends, and not to forget our little machine, which keeps us constantly busy. And there we need to set our focus to be more aware of the things we need to cut out, we need to reduce to be able to heal. Fourth, harmonize the factors of influence. Means first of all, understand what influences are running on you, which of them are bad, needs to be reduced, and focus on the time which is good for you. That's number 4. Fifth, most important, create a habit. It is not a pill, it's a process, which means it takes time. And this time might be different for every single one of you. So to implement these 5 points, you have to have a very clear view on your life and how it's running now. Now, the tinnitus took quite some time to establish until you notice you have tinnitus. Assume, and this is very, very often the case, that there was time before. And over all this time, things piled up until it resulted in a tinnitus. If you would have been built differently, maybe you would have had a heart attack or maybe a stroke. We are all built slightly different. And I think at least one commonality we could establish: we all suffer of tinnitus. I managed to heal myself, and by looking at these 5 points, I'm sure you have a very good indication to improve your tinnitus too. Now, you still might say, people say, doctors say, it cannot be healed. Well, what I can say, you read it everywhere, but I healed completely. It took me something between 5 to 6 months, but today I can say I'm totally free of tinnitus. You might say, I cannot do it. I tried everything without any success. And doctors say it cannot be done. Now my answer to that is, look, doctors, most of them don't have tinnitus. They don't know exactly what are you suffering of. I used very different methods, but I succeeded. You might say, you want me to be in silence? It's driving me insane, because then the noise is so unreal I cannot manage. I have bad news for you. Yes, that is true, but the way I look at it is that's an uphill battle, meaning you have to expose yourself to the silence, and given the time, you will fight uphill. When you're up the hill, you will see things got much better, and it takes you through to eventually reduce the pitch. Now, you might say, you know, there are so many things in the meantime, on the tube, on the Facebook, on the whatever. How do I know which one to choose? Well, the only advice I can give you is, first of all, some of them that are really very, very simple. Meaning, you know, if it's the Vic Vaporub kind of massaging your ear with some kind of cream, if that helps you, I don't think you really had tinnitus. If you are the very lucky guy, you have wax in your ear, great stuff. But do me the favor, speak to an ENT specialist. Get a very good exam of your situation and then decide. Lastly, my suggestion is, does the solution involve you personally? Do you have to do something continuously? Not just putting a cream, pressing a point. That's all very simple cases, and of course, great if you can find help like this. Very easy. Google in the tube, you'll find at least 5 massage methods how to reduce your ringing. If that doesn't help, look for something which basically involves yourself. You have to be part of the solution. I brought you a picture because I wanted to share the story, which I believe was maybe even harder to overcome. This is a US parachute. On the top right, you see him in the wheelchair. All the doctors he's seen have told him his hips are crushed, his knees are gone, his ankles are not working anymore. And it took him a long time to overcome that statement. And look at the progress of the guy. It took him 1 year. Last picture down there on the left. What an amazing achievement. And that's the way you have to look at tinnitus too. It's a very serious condition and not easily healed. So, coming to our tool, which we promised you, it's something you have to do physically and mentally. The mind guides the process. Therefore, use the tool Start daily. Do it every day, 10 minutes. And maybe after the first week, you improve. Give it another 2 minutes, 3 minutes, etc. And remember, it's not a pill, it's a process. I know I repeat myself, but in our Western community, we are so governed by the idea, just take a pill and it's gone. Well, it's not like this. Now, it might be that many of you think, look at the exercise, not a great thing, but you're wrong. It's very simple, but it's not easy. The repetition is the key of that exercise. We'll share the link at the end. But let's have a quick preview. I have Noah with me, which will explain to you a little what's the exercise all about. Hands coming up to the level of the heart.
Hi everybody. So this tool we call the AnanDao, and we usually recommend it for better sleep because it has a deep releasing effect on the nervous system. Now, as you probably already figured out by yourself, when you feel stress or anxiety or you have too much tension, the ringing is much worse. It is because the nervous system is one of the major triggers for the tinnitus. So when you use this tool, you eliminate this trigger. Isn't that really, really cool? The other thing that this tool is doing very effectively is letting go of any thoughts and calming down any activity in the brain. So it allows you, instead of burning energy, to collect energy while practicing. At the end of the webinar, you will get a link to a video where we train this tool together. And there will be in the video precise explanation of how to do it. Now, this motion is done very slowly, and it is very important that you connect the motion with the breathing. It will help you to supply the body with a lot of new oxygen, a lot of new energy, and it will create a deep relaxation, mental and physical. Now, don't be shy while training and use the sound while exhaling every time. It will sound like a bee. You breathe in, and when you breathe out, you just go bzzz. This is very strong and very important way to empty the mind completely. At the end of practicing, you will feel very calm and very quiet. And doing it regularly will help you sleep better, regenerate better, restore your concentration, and ultimately it will reduce the ringing substantially.
Now you understand the nature of your tinnitus, and that means the problem becomes solvable. And if you like what you just saw, you're absolutely gonna love what we're going to show you now. We have created a revolutionary program. It's really, we are super excited to share it with you. We know how life is with tinnitus. People suffer endlessly. Sleep with headphones, fear silence, and maybe you say you need more guidance. Alone I cannot do it. Well, here is your chance. We developed a digital course for tinnitus, 8 weeks online training camp, which includes daily guided practices, weekly webinars where we give you guides and instructions to do the training correctly, and a nutrition plan. 12 months of self-training program to continue the 8 weeks online training camp practice. We're running a closed Facebook group for your support from us as well as the community. So you train whenever, wherever, on your smart TV, on the PC, on the tablet, whatever. All the trainings are shot in a very nice location, which means it takes you out of your daily life and gives you a beautiful view and to train together with us. So just imagine, finally fall asleep good and wake up truly rested. Eventually lowering the pitch, enjoy silence by reading a book. Be concentrated and focused on your success, which you deserve, in your work, and fear and anxiety and frustration from this horrible condition. Feel confident to deal with your challenges. Eliminate nervousness and oversensitivity to feel patient and peaceful again. That was one of my major problems, actually, to just get over this oversensitivity and nervousness. How would that feel? Of course, now you probably ask yourself, so how much is it? And I might ask, how much is it worth? So I actually spent approximately $8,000 to do this crazy trip to China. But of course, it's not going to be 8,000, it's not going to be 5,000, and it won't be $3,000. Actually, the price for the product is $748. Now, we have something special to offer you today. Because we know how skeptical you are and how skeptical the community is which suffers of tinnitus, we want to break through. We want to create a lot of success stories which are proving you can improve your noise, you can reduce the pitch, and eventually you can even heal your tinnitus. For that we need you. And therefore we decided to make a pilot, and this pilot provides you with $99 per seat, and we have 30 seats available for you. We want to make you an offer you can hardly refuse. What's $99? Really, it's just a dinner. So therefore, we want to make it very easy for you to join us, because the most valuable you can lose is your time. Right. The $99, let's not talk about it. So what we have for you is a unique approach which you will not find on the market. It's not about pills, it's not about herbs, it's not about pressing some points. It's an overall solution, providing you with the training, taking care of your mental, your emotional, your physical situation, as well as your diet. So it's an overall approach. Our program will provide you with the biggest chance, the highest probability to reduce the noise, lower the pitch, and eventually resolve the reason for your tinnitus. That's our offering. Over and above that, we have a bonus waiting for you. We will have motivational programs for you to take care of you during all the period, to bring you in the right state of mind. Second, we will add our program Strength and Flexibility to complete the whole exercise, the whole experience of you, with a value of $187. But that is not all. Over and above that, we will provide you with a helpline. Helpline meaning you can request a call from us anytime you need our help, anytime you need our support. So real people are behind the program, not just some internet running somewhere. Real people will call you back and will provide all the support you need. Isn't that great? We believe that is the final point to really make sure we're creating success stories here. That's what we're aiming at. Convince the community. So many people are suffering. So help us make this breakthrough. Show the community it can be done. Last but not least, our guarantee. You are not convinced, it's not talking to you, so simply send us an email. Within 21 days, you get your money back. So there is really no risk at all. All you give is your valuable time, which we know and appreciate. But look what you're buying in. The chance to succeed and heal your tinnitus. Isn't that great? So I want to share with you the testimonials you see coming up right there, and I want to read for you the experience of some of our students for our first smaller try. I want to tell you about an acupuncturist, therapist. She complained about an extremely high pitch which she had for more than 2 years, which didn't allow her to sleep or work concentrated. So here is what she wrote us back after 4 weeks training. I wanted to tell you that in the last 2 nights I slept almost 9 hours straight. That has not happened to me for like forever. Doesn't that sound incredible? That's exactly the point which I was talking about. The sleep, one of the key factors to increase our energy and make us more relaxed. So here we have this wonderful feedback. We had another one, a teacher, which basically complained that while he's so exposed to noise and many voices, he suffered extremely of high pitch, like almost 24 hours a day. Now let me read you what he wrote us. Now I have more good days than bad days, but even then, the horrible high pitch that I had 24 hours a day is completely gone. This after 5 weeks training. That brings us to our Q&A session. Q&A, we are open for your questions and please shoot. We dive right away into it. Here comes the first one from Michael. How can I know if it will work for me? Well, as we explained in the very beginning, there are several methods out there talking about pills, talking about technology, some kind of music, so-called white noise, some kind of acupressing. I think that's very, very simple concepts, and if it works for you, fantastic. What our program offers is a wide range and a complete approach, which means if all the logic which we explained in the beginning resonates with you, makes sense to you, now you also know we involve you, we'll train with you. So therefore we higher the chance extremely to get not only a positive result, to have a real chance to heal your tinnitus completely. Why is it digital? Next question here from Danielle. Well, it is important to train together every day, 6 out of the 7 days. Let me just tell you at that point that one of our students, which is currently in New York, appreciates this flexibility so much. He bought into our blood pressure program, travels a lot business-wise, and extremely appreciates the option to be completely free and attend wherever he is. So here comes Debbie. What are these tools? Well, these tools are a combination of yoga, qigong, tai chi, martial arts. We took the best out of everything to improve and train you mentally, physically, emotionally. Jennifer, can you help also when the reason for the tinnitus is a drop in the hearing or an injury of the ear? Well, that's not our expertise. As I said in the beginning, I personally believe anything can be healed. I do not believe the Western medicine that something is broken cannot be mended. So therefore, I believe there is still a chance, but as I said, it's not our expertise. We haven't been active in that area. I believe it's certainly worthwhile a try. And again, $99, 21 days, you can get it back anytime if you feel it doesn't work for you. So, here comes a message. I almost completely forgot the tool. So I put you here, the link in the chat. So you can access our tool, start training today, begin with 10 minutes. That seems too long. Go by 5 minutes and increase every day 2 minutes. Train regularly. Repetition is the key for this kind of exercises. Here comes Tammy asking, my jaw and my neck are very stiff. Doctors are saying this is the cause for my tinnitus. Well, it might be the case. I personally have my doubts because in most cases I spoke to regarding tinnitus and taking myself, there was a change in life. Even if it was gradually, there was a change in life which led to that. However, if that assessment is accurate, for sure, our program will help you release for certain that region, and not only that, your whole spine, your whole body, your whole mind. Therefore, very good chance to improve and even heal your tinnitus. So now, on the right hand side, you see coming up our button to join our program. Your decision to reduce the noise, lower the pitch, and eventually heal the reason for your tinnitus. It's coming up now on the right hand side. Press the button that will take you to our landing page, and there you get all the details about the program and the option to reserve your seat. So we are at the end of the question and answers. There are no new questions coming up. Therefore, I want to remind you, now is your chance to join our program. Please click on the link, click on the button, and go to our landing page to reserve your seat. Reserve your chance and experience this totally new approach to go about it. Help us to be able for us to convey this positive message. It can be done.